Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Vibrant Life podcast. This is the official podcast of the Vibrant Life community, and I'm Sarah Nolan, an energy management and burnout prevention consultant. And this is Tasha, and she is an amazing woman, and I'm so glad that I met her through my mastermind and that we've got to connect. We've got, lots in common between what we do to what we each do. So Tasha did 10 rounds of IVF so that nobody else has to. And she's used her personal experience with IVF and herself getting pregnant and having kids, along with her background in biology and chemistry, to create this 100% success program that has a guarantee. I mean, how many programs have you ever heard of that actually has a guarantee that you are going to get pregnant? I mean, that's just mind-blowing, and it's amazing. So thank you so much, Tasha, for coming on with us today.
Oh my gosh, of course. Thank you so much for having me. This is such a treat.
Yeah. And I've heard your story before, and I was so inspired by it that I wanted all of our listeners to hear it as well, because we've got a lot of moms and dads who listen to this podcast. And I know, people don't tend to talk about their struggles with pregnancy or conceiving children, but I know that it's a really common topic. So, and I know that also, even if people are not in that stage of parenting or of life, that your story has so many parallels just with life in general. So I'm really excited for you to share your story of overcoming some of the major challenges that you've experienced with us.
Thank you. Yes. And I get why people don't talk about it. It tends to be when you do talk about it, you get really bad advice coming back. So like anybody in a struggle, people that know the least about it seem to share the most. But my story is I don't want to say simply, my husband, we found out after a year of trying naturally, he had low sperm count. There was going to be no way I was going to have a baby with him naturally. I could have a baby with somebody else's husband, not my husband. So that is when we started our fertility treatments. And I was 33, absolutely nothing wrong with me in terms of fertility issues.
That must have felt heartbreaking to hear that news.
It was like shock. Yeah. I thought it was, this is back now, my son's 10, so almost 11 years ago. I just thought, that's so weird. That's so weird. I can't believe I have to do IVF. That's so weird. What does that mean? Yeah. So it was a shock. I did start bawling, in the office hearing this news. It was very unexpected. Yeah. And yeah, it was really fear of the unknown that just consumed me in terms of what does that even mean? And I only had one other friend that was doing it at the time. And it seemed crazy.
And what's interesting, Tasha, is it was your husband. It wasn't like was it an issue with your fertility as well, or was it mostly on his part?
Well, yes and no. So it was my husband's low sperm count. And I think it's really important to know that 40% of the time there is a male issue of why people need fertility treatments. And if you think people don't talk about fertility treatments, right?
Yeah.
When it's a male factor, it's I don't get it. I mean, I've done some FUTVs about like, I heart men with low sperm count because and I say in it, I'm like, you know how you can tell that somebody has low sperm count? You have them ejaculate into your hand. You take your hand to a microscope, you look and you start counting. Like, there is nothing about the man and his masculinity,
right,
or his energy or his worth that makes him any different because he has low sperm count. Yet we make it seem like basically, he has no worth and no dick and no nothing because he has low sperm count. So yeah, it was hard to hear, but I say yes and no because, my son, I got pregnant I got pregnant the first time for a short time. The second time was my son. So I just thought, easy, this will happen, of course, like this for as many children as I want. And then it was when I was going for number 2, 8 more rounds, 4 different clinics, in 3 years to get to Mila. And so when somebody has low sperm count, they're doing IVF, sperm count doesn't matter unless there's 0, but he had millions, just not 40 million. And so why couldn't I get pregnant? Right. Again, that second time. And this is really my work with these women, is best practices for getting pregnant in general, but especially when it seemingly doesn't make sense. What could it possibly be?
Yeah. And that I can just imagine the mental journey that you went on through that process, because you mentioned before about the men, you know, if it's an issue with his sperm count, how that could just like stake in the heart, like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? Like, what's wrong with my masculinity? And then like feeling that shame with the wife or with the other person. And then for you to be on the receiving end of that process, to be, you know, I can see how that might come up for you too.
Yes. You know? I never had, I never blamed my husband. I should have, right? No, I'm kidding. I never had that like we have to do this for you. It was just something that we had to do. But in terms of my mindset and how I personally went through it, honestly, the first time I did it, I was just super cocky, right? I was 33. I was probably, you know, I felt like the youngest person in the room. I probably wasn't. And of course, this, you know, and I was like, you know what? Great. I'm a planner. I'm just going to make 15 embryos. And then every time I want a baby, just pop one in and have a baby. And so that was funny, right? My mentality for there. So I was cocky. The second time going through it, I was angry. I didn't get why that didn't work. I was angry to be there again. God forbid I had to do it twice. Which is hilarious now that I did it 10 times. And then again, going into it, I started cocky. And what's interesting is I never got another positive pregnancy test until my daughter, Mila. Wow. So then, you know, cut to round 3, 4, 5. And it was kind of like 3, okay, it didn't work the first time. 4, well, you know, you need a couple times. 5, and then it was like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is when I started completely losing hope. And I didn't understand it. I couldn't control it. The only thing I can control was my response to it. So I was internalizing everything, which is not healthy. Externally, I had a smile. Everything was fine. I got it. I'll do this. Because I didn't want anybody feeling sorry for me. That was probably the worst is like when people be like, oh, you know, you didn't, oh, I didn't. Oh,
and they don't even get it. Like they didn't even know what they're feeling sorry for.
Right. Yeah. They would either say, you know, oh my God, you know what? My friend had that happen and she just like got drunk one night and like, one time I go, yeah, you know what? If I got drunk and fucked her husband, it would work, but not with my husband. Like some people don't realize it's an actual medical condition on both sides.
Right.
And the more that the more that you would just confront, like, I don't know what's going on. And this is clearly something I can't control, you know, and that's where you have a choice. And it wasn't until the very end that I chose to completely surrender. And I'm not saying that was the only reason it worked. I did a lot of different things that last round. And this journey was part of my life's purpose. So I love it and I embrace it and I appreciate it. If I just went through 2 or 3 rounds of IVF, I wouldn't be able to serve women like I can.
Exactly.
So I do love it and appreciate it. At the time. I didn't get it. But yeah, I think the last round where they were telling me it's basically you're done or you need egg donor or something. Mm-hmm. And I was fine. I was going to be a mom again. Mm-hmm. So I didn't care what showed up. Right. I said, if a monkey falls out of my vagina, I will be very happy and embrace that monkey. So it wasn't about like I needed my biological child, which some people do. And I respect those conditions. But it was just, this has to happen. This will happen again. I don't know how. And it's getting, and now I just almost expect it not to happen. And then it was at the end where I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be stoic about this anymore. Yeah. When people ask me, how am I? I'm going to say, it's very, or how is it going? It's very hard. It's very sad. Yeah. And I'm working on it. Instead of like, it's fine. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah, it's fine. You know?
Yeah, that, what you just said there, Tasha, is, I think anybody in life can relate to that, where it's like, you think you're doing the right thing by staying positive and having that positive attitude, that positive thinking. And some people are even afraid to bring any negativity out because they think that's going to like curse them or, it's going to bring down their vibration or whatever. And I was just thinking about this today, where it's like just getting real and getting present with how you're really feeling gives you space to move forward. It gives you space to have a different experience, but just acknowledging that like, this is the reality. Like, I kind of do feel like crap or this is, a shitty situation. I'm not sure those are the words that you use. But.
Yeah, no, 100%. And now I know, of course, when you are confronted with this emotion of, this is really hard, this is really sad. And when you don't fully let it come in and work and be sad about it and work through it, instead of like, I'm going to ignore it. It's like a bully, if you try to like, if a bully comes up to you and you try to ignore a bully, they're like, oh, I got you. I'm just going to hang out and keep on like, and then you get more and more. And instead of, hey, I hear you, bully. Yes. I'm looking at you. I'm listening to you and I want to hear what you have to say. And we're going to instead of resisting, moving into the energy, the space, the whatever. That is, I think, the biggest miss when people are like, just be positive and it will happen, whether it's manifestation or, it's like, but what about the space to allow that feeling to come in? And to your point, and are you doing practices to create space, to let yourself think clearly about things, and also move so much of the clutter that has been built up from decades and show, can you move through that? And that's the work that you do. And that's what's so important, is that flow. I say there's only 3 things you need to get pregnant. And that's the right science or biology. Okay. But you can't get pregnant without, if it's IVF or treatments, science, but biology, if it's natural, enough space. Okay. So I'm very scientific about everything that I do. Unfortunately, my analytical clients love that. My woo-woo clients love it too. Cause there's definitely, they don't ask for explanations, and that's kind of fun. They just like, whatever you say. But when I say space, I am talking from a biological standpoint of when there is so much clutter in your mind and body, okay, your body functions differently. Your endocrine system functions differently. Okay. If there's so much clutter and toxins, mental and physical toxins, your body, that is medicine, the wrong medicine to your body, and it will respond accordingly. So when I say space, I do mean from a perspective of do you have enough space for a baby in your life, in your body? And that is from a, I guess, spiritual perspective, but again, it all comes down to the biology of balancing hormones.
Right,
and then when I say, do you have enough energy, you know, especially us women these days trying to have babies, especially in our 40s, which is great. And I love it. And you can do it. But there's biology behind that. And you need enough energy at the cellular level for your cells to divide, and not just divide, create. So when we are coming from a stance of being energetically depleted with so much clutter, things coming in, people coming in, not being able to do like work with you and flush it out, you can't have a baby. And it's not a big conspiracy theory because you're, you know, a single mother by choice in her 40s and you have this great career. It's not against you. It's not the world against you. It's biology. And by the way, the best place to be is in a state of abundance, of energy, of space, of love for yourself first anyway. And then create love from that energy, which of course is a baby. So that's I kind of went on a tangent there, but
yeah, I love that. I love the connection between like the physical, the energetic, and the emotional and spiritual. Like it really all comes together with what you just said.
Yeah. Yeah. You know who my worst clients are?
Who's that?
Worst meaning I love them, but you know, I need to like, no, I don't hit anybody.
Oh, good.
I would like to shake the shit out of them sometimes. Doctors are my worst clients. Not worst, most stubborn, because they just want to know what I know about the biology behind it, the science behind it. I mean, they know the biology behind it. So it's just like, what doctor should I use? What medication should I take?
Right.
And that's hilarious that, you know, if it was that simple, and it can be that simple, if you're not running yourself ragged. And doctors are service providers. They give so much of themselves, depending what doctor you are, but especially the doctors I work with, they're giving so much of themselves 24 hours a day.
Right.
Yeah. And that's beautiful and that's amazing. And they're so good at what they do. And I know how much they give because I work with amazing women, and there's just not enough for them to create. So, and they haven't studied. So talk about analytical. They haven't studied how nutrition, you know, clearing practices like meditation, sleep routines, like they're definitely not talking about how you should sleep in medical school, right? You know, and all these things where it's seemingly like the fun stuff, but it all comes down to biology.
Right. Yeah. And it sounds like you are so good at helping them helping to provide those missing links where people think they're doing all the right things. They have all, you know, lots of knowledge about, you know, how it should work on paper, but then sounds like you bring into the equation the stuff that isn't necessarily on paper. It's more individual to the person.
Yes, because this is something with doctors, people think it just stops there. And for now, I don't want to say unfortunately, like what I say is, you know, I don't do what the doctors do. The doctors don't do what I do. You need both to expedite your fertility journey. You need both. And it's okay that the doctors don't think nutrition or, you know, food is medicine, but they haven't, it's okay that they, I mean, it's not okay that they think that, but whatever, but it's fine if they haven't studied that.
Right.
Unfortunately, most people take the doctor's word as the word when they don't realize, like my friend who is a doctor who turned into integrative medicine because she did see how she could heal people through mindset and nutrition and supplements, vitamins. So she does the best of Eastern and Western. And she's like, Tasha, we spent 20 minutes on nutrition in medical school.
Oh my gosh, seriously?
20 minutes, all
20
of medical
minutes.
school. That's it.
Wow.
And now, of course, she built her whole practice around, you know, how to detox the liver so that it functions properly and you don't have to take thyroid medicine because your thyroid's getting triggered by, you know, like that's what she does now. But if you didn't study it and you're a doctor, you cannot recommend it.
Right.
You know, that period. I haven't done my own research or tried it. It doesn't exist. Such a good point. You know?
Yeah.
And that's what's really unfortunate.
Right, exactly. And I feel like from people that I've talked to, there's always recommendations, but then, like you said, there hasn't necessarily been the research to back it up.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just backtracking a little bit on your story. And we talked about mindset and we talked about all these other things, this clutter that comes up in making space by removing that clutter. Are you able to share with us some of the stuff that you found come up with you during your process with your 10 IVFs?
Well, in terms of like what I did to help myself or just like the clutter that came up?
What kinds of things, what kind of clutter did you find in your own personal journey that you were removing?
Absolutely. Because I was going to say, I would not, you know, how I did my journey, nobody should. That's why I did it 10 times. You don't want to take my advice of how I did that. Yes. The biggest thing, I think that the first thing that popped into my head when you asked me that was, and this still comes up in my business. I'm on an island. Okay. I am so fiercely independent and I'm not unable to ask for help. I just don't see the point almost. It's like, I got it. Everything is, I got it. And when it comes to something like your fertility journey, one, you don't got it, right? Because first of all, it's not even totally up to you. Right. You have doctors, you have embryologists, and you have that baby that is its own person and absolutely gets a say as to when and how he or she shows up. Okay. And I think that that's also a part of it people don't respect or have ever been aware of. So in terms of the biggest thing that I learned was how much of a disservice that I was doing trying to do all this on my own.
Yeah.
And I had, you know, Brian is my sperm donor / husband. And he would have done anything for me. But when you're going through a journey like this, and I'm sure you see this as you help people, you know, with just, even if it's something as simple as anxiety. Everybody has anxiety. Of course I have anxiety. I was, you know, I'm a working mom and I was living in New York City and like, of course, but it's okay to get help and guidance on the hacks of how to recover from that. So like with me and Brian going through fertility treatments together, Brian shouldn't know what to do to help me, because I didn't even know what to do to help myself. But if we could have just had the guidance of, this is your role with your husband, so you don't kill him before you actually need his sperm, right? Because that was important to me. And this is, you know, this is what you two focus on. Okay. What you're expecting from him, which you're never going to get because it's impossible, is him to know how to best guide you emotionally through this journey. So I think that for me, it was not only was I knew Brian couldn't help me. And it was almost like, he can't help me. Nobody can help me. I just have to help myself. And I think just taking that on myself was just such a big miss I couldn't, you know, when you're in your own head and
right, yeah.
what can happen, you know, that, I don't know, whirlwind of chaos and disaster can happen. That tornado.
There's a saying, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
I mean, that you could say it takes a village to conceive a child.
Yes. Yes. And not even a village, just expert guidance.
Right. Yeah.
On not only like I just wish I had.
I just realized how funny that sounded.
Yeah, no, you don't even, yeah, it is a village actually that it takes to conceive a child, or just get drunk. No, I hate when people say that to me. Or the adoption one, you know, oh, you know, she filled out adoption papers and then she just miraculously got pregnant. That's a great story for your friend. Don't ever tell it again. Don't ever tell it to somebody trying to conceive. So yeah, I think one of my biggest misses was doing this on an island, and you know, when you're it's only you. I think my focus was just so, I had such blinders on in terms of, I just need another baby. I just need a baby. I just need another. I just need another. And there were big misses because of those blinders of just go, you got it. Keep going. Didn't work. Keep going. And it's like, no, stop, pause, right? Create some space.
Yeah.
Don't keep on doing the same thing that's not working. Cause that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. And, but I was just, it was me and the doctor, and that's all I did.
And then the doctor didn't have this, this higher level understanding, I'm guessing, you know, of what else is involved. We just talked about, you know, some of the missing links
doesn't
that
even
doctors
exist.
tend to have. Yeah.
No, that doesn't even exist in their world. That has nothing to do with your fertility, your body, or you getting pregnant. Has nothing to do with it. Okay. So not only was it just not even addressed, it was like, why would you even like think about anything else? But the other thing, unfortunately, and I hesitate to even bring this up, but it's true, is, you know, and especially this clinic that I went to in New York City, which is very well known. All the clinics I went to were very well known. And that's why people are like, I'm going to blank. It's the most famous, but I'm like, no, that's creative marketing. But, you know, this is a business. Okay. And I hesitate to say this. Yes. But your IVF fertility clinics, if you think about it, if they fail, you don't die. And then they make more money.
Now, so there's no guarantee. IVF clinics don't have any kind of a guarantee.
Oh my God, no. I mean, some of the, I don't know all the clinics.
Sure.
Some clinics that I would never recommend that I've heard of do offer a guarantee if you do 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds. I don't know what it is. But you shouldn't go to that clinic to start with. Like anytime you hear about, now there are ways to get great discounts on your fertility treatments. I know we're going off topic, but yeah, when it's, hey, you get to do IVF for $4,000, it's like, oh no, you're not, that's for a reason. You actually don't want to go there because they're then in terms of volume, they're going to, you know, they're not good. So they're just going to make it up in volume. So 4,000 is low.
I've never,
very low.
Okay.
It's very low. I mean, that's low in the US, unfortunately. And again, I don't know what's going on in the US, but the US has the highest prices by far out of any country I've ever worked with. And I've worked with people in over 9 different countries, and US is double what most are at the minimum. Not all places. So I do have some great clinics, and I hesitate to say who and what, because it really is super personal. And when people are like, where should I go? There are so many things to consider. The best clinic for one definitely would be the worst clinic for another. And these are exceptional doctors, exceptional clinics. So,
well, this is a good place to segue into one of your offerings that, you know, you offer. It seems like you probably offer this to people when you first, you know, are introduced to them, which is the 15 questions you must ask your doctor.
Yes, that is, I put that together in terms of when you are evaluating a new clinic, what should you be asking?
Right.
Yeah, that's what those questions are. And you can, it's on my website. Anytime you just sign up for the newsletter, which should be more active. So you're definitely not going to get a lot of emails. I just focus on my clients, and then everything else is like, I just try to set out great. I do the podcast, and that is really an easier way for me to share more advice. But
and what's your podcast called?
It's the FU Project.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you just go to my website, at the bottom of the homepage, it says sign up for the newsletter, and you'll get that link. Under contact, you have a chance to get that link. And yeah, those are just 15 questions everybody should come prepared with when talking to a new clinic. Perfect. To consider.
And what's your website?
It's tashablasi.com.
Okay. That's easy.
BLASI.
Okay. And it sounds like you have your 100% guarantee, right? 100% success rate.
Yes.
So you're saving massive amounts of money and time for your clients.
I am. It's all about, the 100% success rate, that makes people very nervous. So I also hesitate to ever talk about that, because people are like, not that I'm proud of it, but people are like, I'm going to be your first. I'm going to be your first. I don't want to even start, because I'll fail you. And I've had to now put, I've had to put some criteria over what I deem my 100% success rate, because I've had people just, fly in and out of the program, come with an embryo already made, it doesn't work, and they're done.
Right.
But to me, that I don't count that in terms of, because they didn't actually do or finish the program. And when you are able to do the program from the start of it, and we work together through before you even start treatments. Most people don't come to me before they've done IVF. They come to me after like 6 failed rounds of IVF.
Okay.
And that's fine. But if you come to me before, or if we're starting over, that's where you just get the most benefit, because we don't have to correct mistakes along the way. We get to do it correctly from the start, from before the egg retrieval, preparing yourself and your body for that, preparing yourself and your body for the transfer, the actual transfer procedure, and then, of course, everything in between. So we do have a 100% success rate for anyone who finishes the program, and that has been working with me since the start, and has done. And then the guarantee is that if you do work with me from the start and do the work, right? A lot of people just think it's as soon as they pay me, they miraculously get pregnant. I cannot get you pregnant. Okay. It has to be 100% you. But anybody who does do the work and goes through at least 2 egg retrievals and 2 transfers with me, and decides, I'm out, I'm done, I don't want to get pregnant anymore, then they do get their money back.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's amazing. And I can just see myself putting myself in their shoes and just feeling the sigh of relief. Like, okay, there's an answer here. There's something that I can do. Like, I feel like, I've never been in this situation personally. Well, I had a miscarriage, and then I desperately wanted to get pregnant right away again, because I was like, okay, I'm ready to be pregnant now.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, month after month, I had this sense of like hopelessness. Like, is this really going to happen? And I can see a solution like this if I was, needing it, just feeling like, there's something, like I have some control in this.
Yeah.
There's something I can do.
Right. And I say, you don't join the program when people are joining the program specifically for like, this is a guaranteed pregnancy. I say, I cannot do that. I am not guaranteeing you a pregnancy. And when they're so focused on the guarantee, I actually take a step back, and I'm like, this isn't the right program for you, because the focus should be, to your point, I just want to ensure that I'm not making any mistakes, that I'm doing best practices every step of the way. Google doesn't help, right? There's always a conflicting answer no matter what you ask.
Right.
Like if your goal is to not make a mistake and therefore, like you said, save yourself so much time, energy, money, mental health, then yes, that's why you work with my team and me. Or like for you, it's if somebody's like, I'm I'm stressed or I'm anxious or I have anxiety or fears or these really deep rooted emotional issues, you fix it. And it's like, well, no, I'm not guaranteeing that I'm going to fix it. What I am guaranteeing is, you will know exactly what you need to do to fix it. And that's what I do. I can't get you pregnant, but I will tell you exactly what you need to do and you won't make a mistake. So,
I love that. We should quote that. I can't get you pregnant. Yes.
Yes. I cannot. And my husband definitely cannot. We know that, right?
Yeah. That's awesome. So Tasha's got a couple of things that she's offering you guys. If you want to explore this further, if you're ready to just finally be in that next stage of your process with having kids, complimentary strategy session where she can help you to identify red flags in your process. And can you say a little bit more on that, Tasha?
Yeah, that's when you get on a call with one of the support coaches that on my team, and they will, there's a form, you fill out a bunch of questions. So they go into it having a good idea of what's going on. And then they will identify where they're seeing red flags in your journey. Is it in the science? Is it in the creating space, which is like decluttering? Is it in the energy? And then also share if you want to know how we can help with each. So it really depends on kind of what's talked about in that strategy session. But yeah, we will identify for you like, hey, please work on this, right? Either on your own or we can help you. And in either way, we like to give people things that they can kind of walk away with in terms of if they want to do this on their own, or the ways that we could help them move forward with us.
That sounds awesome. That sounds so helpful.
Yeah. And a lot of helpful information for those that do want to do it yourself, which I love and respect. The podcast has a lot of do it, skip it segments, genetic testing or not,
awesome.
Do IVF or not. And so the podcast is a wealth of information for people that are doing it themselves.
So it's the FU Project podcast. And can they find that on iTunes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Beautiful. And then of course, go to her website, tashablasi.com, and download the 15 questions that you must ask your doctor, getting on the email list, and you guys will be all set.
Yeah. And even if you already have a doctor, you should ask them those questions, see what they say.
Yeah.
You may know some of the answers already, but yeah.
Absolutely. And even if, you've been listening to this or watching this and you are not in a situation where you're going to be doing IVF, I'd love to know some of the takeaways where you can apply what we talked about to your business or to your life, where you feel like you're in Ground Hog Day and you're just reliving the same challenges or mistakes or whatever over and over again. And I think you can really take your story, Tasha, and apply it to like creating space for this new thing to birth from you.
Absolutely. Anytime you need to create anything in your life or business or relationships, you need that space and energy first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on, Tasha. This
You're
was
welcome.
So much fun.
Thank you for having me, Sarah. Great talking with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we'll talk soon. And you guys, if you have any questions for Tasha, again, check out her stuff and feel free to comment in the comments below. And Tasha, I'll let you know.
Let me know who has any questions for sure. Or
absolutely.
Reach out to me, Tasha at Tasha Blasi, and I can respond.
Sounds great. All right, guys. Thanks for joining in, and we'll talk soon.